Hello, welcome to today's talk. We will be looking at a fascinating subject entitled Marry Me, Marry My Karma, in this series entitled The Law of Karma, Destiny and Choice. There are many of you who are married who are listening to this show, as well as those of you who would like to be or just about to be married. And so I would invite you to sit back and enjoy the churnings of a senior yogi of Raj Yoga meditation. Hello and welcome, Sister Denise.
Hello, Magla. Thank you.
I must say I have been looking forward to this episode from the commencement of this series. The title itself makes one smile. Okay, so when an individual marries another person, what exactly happens behind the scenes? And I don't mean in their house, I mean in their house.
Yes, indeed. You know, there are two kinds of marriages. One is what's known in India as a love marriage, and the other is an arranged marriage. And in India, people are very, very aware about karma, and also very aware that if you choose to get married to somebody because of falling in love with them, it is highly likely to result in a catastrophe, because the energy of two people falling in love with each other is the law of karma, bringing two people together because they have outstanding debts with each other. And this is a good way to get them to come together and get caught up in each other, tied together. Marriage is a bond of marriage. Create children, etc., etc., and then the payment starts. And all sorts of really terrible experiences are there because you're settling karma. And this is why in India, when two people are considered at the right age to get married, then they will look at their astrological charts and see if they are compatible. And they're basically looking at the karma of the people and seeing if the karma is compatible. So their feelings about each other may be relatively neutral, but the astrologers will say, you know, these people, they don't have the likelihood of terrible suffering in their marriage, so it'll probably be a stable marriage. And then they grow to love each other over the course of the marriage. And in India, this is considered a much better way to go than the fiery enthusiasm and euphoria and ecstasy of falling in love, and followed by falling out of love. So this is one side of it. When you marry somebody, you're also marrying their family, because a person is part of a family, and then it's like two families start to have relationships with each other because of the marriage. And there may be karma not just only with the person, but also with the other family members. And you're brought together with that family because there's outstanding debts with other family members that you could only get tied up to through the marriage. There may also be incredible karma accounts with the children. Sometimes children will be born where there is a lot of difficulty or illness, so you need a lot of attention, a lot of money, a lot of care, and then the parents have to dedicate themselves to that child, or they don't like their children, or their children don't like them. There may be a lot of violence in the house, domestic violence. This is a complicated problem. But one interesting thing to know is a little aphorism. Do not suffer for another person's karma.
Meaning what?
You know, your spouse may be having a hard time and behaving abominably, and you take that on. You don't have to. You say, this is your karma, you are suffering for your own karma, I don't have to suffer for your karma. So you keep an independent position, and this is a position that can actually limit and minimize the potential for marital disharmony and possible domestic violence. It's a very good little aphorism.
Where does romance fit into all of this? Romance is a reality for millions.
Well, many people are romantic, and they're looking for love. And they're looking for love because they're empty. They're looking for love, maybe they didn't get enough love from their mother, their family members. And if you are starved of love, if you're empty and your heart is broken and messed up and you betrayed, you'll be always looking for that, because that's what's missing in your life. And because of the nature of the human condition at this time, it's the case for many, many people. But there's something else beyond that, and that is that to find love, to find the love of your life, is one of the purposes of life. And I have a friend who says, God is the love of my life. And that's very deep, because the only one who can really give you the love that you're looking for at every level, throughout your entire life, throughout many lives, is actually the divine supreme being, the ocean of love. But people don't have easy access to God, so they try to find a God among humans. And when you fall in love with someone, you don't see the reality of the person, you see the feeling that you get from that person, from being in their company. You see like a very romanticized version of that person, and that is a kind of trick of the phenomenon of karma to get you together. Because if you would see the reality, you wouldn't come together. But if you don't come together, you can't settle the account. So romance is very much about that.
You're painting a rather bleak picture of marriage. Are you saying that people shouldn't marry because it's all going to blow up in your face? Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is a little bit like the expression that you sometimes use, fools rush in where angels fear to tread. If you want married life, you want to be married, you want to live with another person, share your life, create children, if that is your aim, you need the skill set for it.
Okay, let's go into that. What skill set are you referring to?
You need to be able to negotiate the relationship whenever anything is different. Sharing means equal. The conventional morality positions it that the man has all the authority and the woman has to go along with him, because then it will be less conflict. But then the woman will suffer, and it won't be a good marriage, actually. A good marriage is when both partners do the work, and that work lasts for many years, and you have to work through each problem as it comes up. And for that, it has to be your highest priority that the couple, the sharing, the relationship is more important than anything else. And then you will do the work. And there's actually very few people who have that priority. Majority of people who have difficulty in their marriage are operating from a selfish angle. And as you have sometimes said, the world is filled with selfish people. So selfish people get married or another selfish person, then the relationship is not going to be the high priority, but what they can take from the relationship. And if you extract all the energy from the relationship, it's going to fall flat.
You have individuals who are stuck in relationships that go, I can't live with you, but I can't live without you.
Well, this is the karmic cost. This is the suffering of karma, because they are really tied and they suffer. And until that karmic account is finished, they can't separate from each other. But the difficulty, I think, or the problem is that you suffer and then you react to that suffering by creating more suffering. And then you can't live with, you can't live without.
There are scores of individuals throughout the world who are very happily married, who do not have any of this negative unfolding, as it were. What did they do right to deserve that?
One thing they did right is they looked at their compatibility. Another thing they did right is they made a commitment to the marriage, to the relationship, to the children, to the in-laws, and they made it a priority. Another thing they did is they made a personal ethical policy and a commitment to each other that whatever situation arises, we will sit with it and we will work it out until it's worked out, and then we will move on. You know, this is the skill set that you need. And there are not that many people who succeed. You mentioned at one point how high the divorce rate is worldwide, which is an indicator, you know, that relationships break down and people just don't know. They don't develop the skill set, or they don't have the strength, or they don't have the commitment, they don't have the interest to work through it. So it takes a special kind of person to do that. And so there are scores, but there are far more people who don't succeed.
Yeah, that is true, unfortunately. Divorce. When a couple gets divorced, does that mean the karmic account has come to an end?
Well, it depends on, you know, sometimes you get what's called a messy divorce.
Yeah, very few divorces end amicably. Very few.
Well, that means that the divorce itself is a big settlement of karma, and it may carry on after the divorce, you know.
Okay, so the legal end of a relationship does not mean the karmic end of a relationship.
That's right, yeah. Mm.
You see, here's the thing, many people who divorce think that divorce means the end. But you're saying that's not necessarily the case.
It can be. Maybe you have children together, that means you share time with the children. So circumstances will still keep you in some kind of interaction, or there may be such a terrible hatred that you may be physically apart, but you're thinking of each other. And so that's continuing karmic account. Because if someone's in your mind, they're with you.
Oh, really?
Mm.
Someone's in your mind, they're with you. Mutually, or?
Well, if someone's in your mind but you're not in their mind, then they're with you, but you're not with them.
You know, I once had a conversation with a priest who's conducted many marriage ceremonies. And he said to me, he truly believes that every single couple who gets married stands in front of the church, temple, mosque, whatever, or non-religious ceremony, and really believes at that moment of marriage, when they're exchanging vows, that their marriage will last until the proverbial death do us part. They do believe that. And many wonder, when it is not the case, what on earth went wrong? Because it was never their plan for things to go wrong. How does one carry forth that intention, that I want to be part of this union with this person whom I love until the day I die?
Well, the thing is this, they are not taking into consideration any karmic account that may come up later. Because people who get married in church or in mosque, they're in a religion which doesn't subscribe to the idea of karma. And so they assume that any problem that comes up is just a problem that comes up in the present, and then that they can't deal with. But once you understand about karma, then you know that the force that brought you together is the force of karma, and there will be settlement. And it will not come up right away, it will come up later. So when you go into a marriage at this present time, you need to go in there as informed as you possibly can be about the laws of karma, so that when your account comes up for settlement, that you have the wherewithal to settle it. That means you go through the conflicts and the difficulties as they arise, and you prepare yourself spiritually to be able to do that. And if you disregard this reality, then you will not be able to manage it. It's just simple as that.
I'm thinking of the commonly used expressions when it comes to love relationships and marriage, and and people tend to say things like, I want to make you happy, he makes me so happy, she makes me so happy. That's the one. And the other one is, I want to protect you and look after you for the rest of your life. Is that an actual thing, or is it just something that people say within the context of karma? Can you make someone happy? Can you protect someone?
I remember someone once said to me, I promise you that I will make you happy. And my response was, my happiness is not your responsibility. My happiness is my responsibility.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Most of us love to hear those words.
But because you're not informed.
Yeah, and Sister Denise, you do get people who go out of their way to make someone happy, not just in marriage, in other relationships as well, who, you know, give you what you want, look after you, buy you stuff, etc. That is part of that. So you said that to the poor person in your life. Feel sorry for that person, by the way. But you are an exception. Most people think, hey, I want this because so-and-so said that he or she will make me happy. Yeah, I'm going to go for this because they promised me this.
Yeah, but they can't fulfill that. They cannot fulfill that. So you have to challenge that promise and tell the person, don't make a promise like that. You know, this is not the way to go. Our relationship can be rich and marvelous when both of us put into the relationship the very best that we can. And by doing that, we will make ourselves happy and by product each other happy. But taking on that responsibility of making a promise, I will make you happy, it's a trap. It's an illusion. We should not say things like that. But because they're so in fashion or common or desirable or whatever, you see it in the magazines or whatever, people buy into that. but it's a mistake. And if you go for it, you're buying into such an illusion. It's such a naive position to be in, to assume that someone could or should or has the responsibility to make you happy. A marriage is something you build, and two people build it together, and then there are children, and then there are in-laws, and everybody can participate in making this a good marriage. But making promises based on no understanding of how it works is silly.
Boof, there goes that illusion. Okay, can you protect another person? Is that doable?
Death doesn't ask you, can I please take your wife? It'll just take it. Accident has nothing to do with you, it's this person's karma, you can't. You can do what you can. You can understand that part of your duty is to make sure that there is protection from the elements, from criminals, or whatever, as far as you can. But you can't guarantee that you will be able to protect themselves from any and all eventualities. They may fall sick, so you take care of them. But it's not in your hands, because it's their karma. You married somebody along with their karma, and you are not responsible for settling their karma for them. Maybe some people think that they can, but no, do not suffer for somebody else's karma.
Most people think that is love. There's songs about that. I'm sad when you're sad. I'm suffering when you're suffering. People think that is love. And you're saying what?
I'm saying that's enmeshment. I'm saying that, if somebody's suffering and you're going to suffer along with them, it's good to be compassionate, to be there for them, but not to go into it with them. It's not going to help them. It's not going to alleviate their suffering.
You've blown a lot of people's belief systems to smithereens. So your final message to the people watching you aghast is?
Really think about what
Be
you're
smart
doing here.
when you're betrothed.
Definitely be smart and understand the implications. This is a lifelong commitment. Are you up for it? Be very clear about what it entails. Especially if you marry somebody from a different religion, a different culture, a different social class, it's going to come into the equation, and you need to be able to work through each and every challenge that comes along. And then you can have a lasting, sustainable, deep, trusting, beautiful love. But you have to earn that.
Is love earned? Or is it, we say in my country, gratis, but it's gratis?
No, there's no free lunch.
Love is earned.
Love is earned, it's built, it's cultivated, it's sustained, and you reap the reward if you take care of it well.
Many think that the love that they have in their life is a gift from God. God brought this beautiful person into my life. God gave me a wonderful mother. God gave me a wonderful sister. God gave me a wonderful wife. Many believe that.
It's earned. It's definitely the result of your karma. You get a wonderful mother, a wonderful spouse, wonderful children. This is because you did very good karma, and you brought very good people into relationship with you. You have relationships of karmic bondage. You also have relationships of harmony. You see, so if you have a long, long history of doing whatever you can to do the right thing, pure karma and so on, you're bringing into your life all kinds of beauty, including beautiful relationships, but you will have done the work beforehand, and this is the fruit. And you also have to continue to take care of that relationship.
Okay, unfortunately, the half an hour is up, so I have a suspicion that the masses will ask you for part 2 of this episode because it is such an endlessly fascinating subject for many, and thank you for what you shared today.
Thank you.
So there you go, marry me, marry my karma. I hope that wherever you may be at in your life, married or not, or about to, that you have taken something from this episode that will enable your relationship to be extremely successful. Take care and goodbye.